How's it going, Yankee fans? Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with Alex and Ryan. And guys, it's Friday. What better day to talk about Jazz Chisholm Jr. and what he could do for the Yankees in 2025? Now, when we acquired Jazz, everyone was like, okay, this is a player that's a little bit off in Miami. He's not really that great. He's good. He's inconsistent, a little bit injury prone. Then he goes to the Yankees and, God willing, the guy freaking decides, I want to turn up. I want to play for a winning team. I want to be a catalyst on a World Series contender. And you know what he did? He went out and balled out for the Yankees, and he put up some really, really cool and impressive numbers. I'll give you the guys those right now. With Miami, over 101 games, hit 249 with a 323 OBP and a 407 slugging rate, 13 homers and 50 RBIs with 22 stolen bags. With the Yankees, and by the way, he had 100 WRC plus, which meant he was an average player, average hitter with Miami. Over 46 games with the Yankees, he had 273, 325 OBP, 500 slugging rate, 227 isolated power, 11 homers, 23 RBIs, 18 stolen bags, and a 132 WRC plus. Now, Ryan, let me give you something that might excite you. 1.7 WAR in 101 games with Miami, 2.3 WAR over 46 games with the Yankees. Jazz Chisholm turned the hell up, and if we get that version of Jazz in 2025, there is no doubt in my mind he can hit 25 plus home runs for this team. There's no doubt in my mind he can steal us at least 40 bags. I'm thinking more like 45 bags. This could be a really exciting year. This could be the best year of his career, barring any health concerns, and he could be really freaking good for the Yankees. Now, Ryan, want to get your thoughts on Jazz, the value he brings. I think even now, people underrate him a little bit. What we saw in that second half, what he wants to do with a winning team, he's a totally different player we saw. Just that motivation, that confidence factor for him was a 32% increase in production. Tell me about that. Tell me about why you think he could have a big 2025.
Yeah, so, I think Jazz Chisholm, you ask me, he is one of the most talented players on the Yankees. He's one of the guys who has true star upside. We've seen flashes of it before, and I think working with James Rousden is going to be really productive for his career because when he talked to Eno Saris of The Athletic, Eno tweeted about this, and he's a great follow and just one of the best baseball minds, one of the co-founders and one of the brains behind the Stuff Plus metric, which I cite so often on this podcast. But he talked about how Rousden's got him to pull the ball a little bit more to right field, something he was doing with Rousden in 2022 when he had a 134 WRC plus in 60 games and a 2.5 WAR, made the All-Star team, probably would have ended up having a 4 to 5 WAR season. He played the full year. But as you mentioned, Jazz, it just felt like he played with more urgency with the Yankees. Not to say that he was lazy with Miami or anything like that, but that playing for a contender did marvelous stuff for his ability to just be locked in and play in front of a crowd in a ballpark that is perfect for him. It's a high energy ballpark, it's a high energy crowd, and it's a short right field porch that is really, really tailored for his swing. With the Yankees, he cut his out of zone swing rate, which is basically a fancy way of saying chase rate. How often are you swinging at pitches outside the strike zone? 32.3% with the Marlins, 29.7% with the Yankees. His strikeout rate, 24.9% with the Marlins, 23.6% with the Yankees. That's about a 1.3% decrease. That's pretty notable in my opinion. Let's talk about his zone contact rate. His zone contact rate went from 80.8% to 80.3%, so not really much of a difference there. The thing that I find most interesting is that pitchers threw more strikes to Jazz Chisholm, and he took more called strikes with the Yankees. I wonder if James Rousden has him cued to look for, quote-unquote, his pitch to try to pull it out of the yard, if maybe the Yankees were able to just keep him more contained to swing at pitches he should be swinging at. And then on the base paths, he was far more aggressive with the Yankees as well. He attempted 20 steals in just 46 games. So I think it's really interesting to talk about Jazz and talk about his outlook as well, because the Yankees may be moving him back to his more natural defensive position at second base. But I will say at third base, I was very impressed with what I saw. For a guy who has never played third base at any professional level, not in the minor leagues, not in the major leagues, he was really impressive. 6 outs above average, 5 fielding run value. I know that -2 DRS is there, but I think DRS weighs like the actual weight of an error. So how critical is that error in a game situation? And not to say that like the way in which it affects runs being scored in a game doesn't matter, but that isn't sticky year to year, if that makes sense. So, just because you make an error in a high leverage situation doesn't mean you're more prone to making errors in high leverage situations. The same way that like striking out in a high leverage situation doesn't make you more prone to doing it next time. It just is a thing that happens in very small incremental sample sizes. I value the OAA and the fielding run value a lot more here, and 6 OAA and 5 fielding run value in 400 innings, he would be pacing for a Gold Glove award if he did that over a full season. But at second base, 7 defensive runs saved and 8 outs above average across 1,300 innings there. From 2021 to 2024, he played 1,200 innings there, 9 OAA, 7 outs defensive runs saved. Look, to me, this is one of the better infield defenders on the team, and that second and third base versatility, Alex, opens up so many doors for the Yankees. He is just such a perfect fit for this roster. He's a high-energy base runner. He stole 40 bases last year. He hit 24 home runs, and I'm going to put this take out here now. I think he might threaten for a 30-30 season. We may see 30-30 from Jazz, and if we get that with the defense we saw last year, we might be talking about a 4 to maybe even a 5 WAR season.
We absolutely could be talking about a 4 or 5 WAR season, and I think the most important thing you said there, and this is something I continue to write about, we all want another infielder. We keep hearing rumors, Alex Bregman, and honestly, yesterday, dude, Ryan, I got the shit scared out of me because the Astros want to bring Bregman back, or they want to try. And if they get Bregman back, we may not be the best team in the American League. In a bad American League. Being the number 2 option in a bad American League is not in the cards for the Yankees. It cannot be sustainable. It cannot be fathomed. It can't be tolerated. If you're, like you said yesterday, Ryan, you said it best. If you're freaking Hal Steinbrenner, you're Brian Cashman, go be the damn New York Yankees. Stop pussyfooting, man. Stop pussyfooting. Go be the New York freaking Yankees. Go make a big move. Go make an upgrade. Be the best team in the American League and don't make it a close second, man. This is how we should be operating, not frugal. You're one of the most profitable organizations on the planet. Go show your freaking power. And that power is your financial strength. And we need one more bat. That's all we need. We're not asking for anything crazy. We're not asking to go spend $400 million, $300 million, even $200 million. We're just asking to put this team in a place where we are the clear-cut favorites in the American League, and we can go up against one of these dangerous National League teams in the World Series. That is what I need to see from the Yankees. And getting Bregman back for the Astros, it kind of means to me, Ryan, the Yankees are not the number 1 option anymore in this division. It is a close 1A, 1B to me in that instance. And look, the Yankees, if they get Bregman, if the Astros get Bregman, the Yankees have to make another move. It'll put their backs against the wall to make that big move, to make that kind of variable, that catalyst changing situation where their offense is championship caliber across the board, right? So I don't know, Ryan. I don't know what you thought seeing that report, but that definitely scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, it did as well. Now, I will say I'd rather him go to the Astros and the Red Sox because even if the Yankees are the second best team in the American League, I'd like my chances of winning the division if the Red Sox don't get Bregman. And I think what's more important to me is the division than the AL. Like, you want to have a comfortable chance to win your division. Alex, I have a little bit of a 2-step plan here, and I want you to just look. I'm not sure I'm not saying this is realistic. I'm not suggesting that this is what the Yankees are thinking. I don't know any more than you guys know at the moment. We are at the mercy of reporters and incredible reporters. The Yankees should do this. They should sign Jack Flaherty. He's looking for a short-term deal. Give him that money because they did scout Max Scherzer. That is something they did do. I'm not saying the Yankees are going to get Max Scherzer. I think that's more due diligence, but why even make the effort to have due diligence for somebody in your rotation when you have 6 starting pitchers and you're actively trying to move one of them? And it's not like Scherzer's better than Luis Gil or better than Clark Schmidt. He's not taking either of their jobs, and Scherzer is not going to be interested in signing with a team where he either A, has to pitch out of the bullpen, or B, does not have a guaranteed job in that rotation if everyone's healthy. So why not just say, hey, Jack Flaherty, you got no market, man. The Dodgers, he mentioned that the Dodgers going back to them is kind of out of the picture. Let's sign Jack Flaherty. Let's go get Jack Flaherty short-term deal, and then let's take one of Luis Gil or Clark Schmidt, and let's offer him one of those guys to the Cardinals, and let's say, yo, Brendan Donovan for Luis Gil. Let's make that happen. I think that would make the Yankees clearly the best team in the American League. They would be head and shoulders better than everybody else, even if the Astros got Bregman. And if the Yankees want to make a bigger deal and make sure they add to their bullpen, why not go out and get a left-handed reliever from the Cardinals? I think someone of the ilk of a John King. He had a 2.85 ERA last year, 61.7% ground ball rate. Not a lot of swing and miss, only a 15.3% strikeout rate. But, he's someone who is arbitration eligible, is clearly a good reliever. Two thumbs up on my end here. He kind of fits that Tim Hill mold very well. And Alex, if you added someone like John King who can get ground balls from the left-handed side to your bullpen, he's going to cost, I think, $1.61 million. That's cheaper than Tim Hill. You throw a deal where it's like Luis Heel and Roderick Arias or something like that, or just maybe it's someone like maybe a Bryce Cunningham, maybe it's a Ben Hess. I wouldn't like to deal Luis Heel and one of my top 2 picks from last year's draft class, but just kind of throwing ideas out here. Maybe it's a Cam Schlittler, maybe it's a Brock Selvage, maybe it's Brock Selvage and somebody else. Maybe it's a reliever, maybe it's Clayton Beeter and Luis Heel. I would certainly be interested in that. I know they've had interest in Clayton Beeter before. If the Yankees imported John King, Brendan Donovan, and Jack Flaherty and subtracted Luis Heel and Clayton Beeter, Alex, I think this team is significantly better because, look, I love Luis Heel. He's a fun young arm, but I think we can agree right now that the better pitcher is Jack Flaherty, who, started game 1 of the World Series for the team that ended up winning the World Series, pitched very well in game 1, not so well in game 5. But, the Yankees had interest in him before. We know that they liked him. I know his medical situation is a little bit risky, but a rotation we've got Cole, Fried, Flaherty, Rodon, and Schmidt is clearly the best rotation in the American League, maybe second to the Mariners. I do know the Dodgers rotation is going to still be ranked as better than the Yankees, and I would still have them above that. I'd also hear an argument for the Phillies, who have a phenomenal rotation. The Braves, they have a stellar rotation when Spencer Strider is healthy. But again, we're focusing on the American League here. Better rotation than the Astros. You'd have a better bullpen than the Astros. And then lineup-wise, you throw Brendan Donovan in the mix, it's close. You know what I mean? I would certainly say those two lineups stack pretty favorably against each other. Alex, I guess it's a 3-step plan because you're getting it's a 2-step plan because it's a trade and a signing. It doesn't matter how many players come in that trade. But I think that 2-step plan works. So again, go sign Jack Flaherty, give him 2 years, $40 million, give him an opt-out after the first year, and then go trade Luis Heel for Brendan Donovan and John King. And, maybe you got to throw in a little more outside of Luis Heel. But Alex, I think that makes you're a 98-win team with that group.
That's an interesting concept for sure. I mean, if you go out and get Flaherty, and yeah, Flaherty's a good, proven, experienced arm. Yeah, the injury concerns are there. Obviously, he's been volatile throughout his career, but his market is depressed. I wouldn't even hit like a Nick Pivetta either. I don't really know what the
only problem with Pivetta is the qualifying offer. If I actually would prefer Pivetta to Flaherty financially, it's that qualifying offer. This is true, and I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a second. The qualifying offer system is stupid. If the Yankees sign Nick Pivetta, they have to give up more to sign Nick Pivetta than the Mets would have to give up to sign Juan Soto. It makes no sense. Why? Because the Yankees are over the 4th threshold. I mean, it is so crazy how many taxes and how many loopholes big market teams have to go through just to pay guys. I mean, we can't sign guys with qualifying
Meanwhile,
offers.
The small teams aren't even signing anyone anyway.
Yeah, the Marlins.
So what's the difference?
Alex, the Marlins, so all that tax money you have to pay, that 90% surcharge on any payment we make, it goes towards revenue sharing. For smaller market teams like the Marlins, Athletics, Pirates to get money so that they can quote unquote use it. It's the competitive balance tax. That's what it's called, the competitive balance tax. The Marlins are banking $70 million this year, and their payroll's $20 million. So they're just bringing in $70 million of free revenue. We're giving them $70 million. That's BS, man. It's BS. The Major League Baseball knows it. Rob Manfred knows it. And where does the narrative always get spun to? It's not fair what the Yankees and the Mets and the Dodgers are doing. What they're doing is funding the operations of every small market team in baseball. It's BS, man. It really is BS that we got to sit here and talk about how the Yankees have to pay $40 million to sign Ha-Sung Kim. It would cost the Yankees like $40 million to sign him. That's so stupid. It's so dumb. I get that you need to have competitive balance, but it doesn't make sense if those teams should be required to spend all of that money. If not, they don't get it. That's how it should work. They should either be forced to spend all the money, and anything they don't spend goes right back, distributed back to the big market teams. Hal Steinbrenner's not worth more than John J. Fisher of the Athletics. Hal Steinbrenner's not even one of the top 10 wealthiest owners in baseball. Like, I want the Yankees to spend more, of course, and I think they should, and I'm not letting them get off the leash for that. They're over the luxury tax, the 4th threshold. They need to go all in. This is a World Series window, but the system is also effed up, man. It makes no sense that big market teams have to spend the way they do to fund small market teams just for their owners to take that money and put it in their back pockets. It's a disgrace disgrace. And any fan sitting here and saying it's unfair what the Dodgers are doing or Yankees or Mets are doing, no, it's unfair what these small market teams are doing. Do not let these MFers off the hooks. They're billionaires taking your opinion, pawning your thoughts, and making you think that the problem is the Yankees and the Mets and the Dodgers. No, it's them. They're pocketing $70 million freaking dollars, and we got to give up 2 draft picks to sign Nick freaking Pivetta, man. We had a 4th round pick for Juan Soto. And I got to give up a 2nd and a third round pick and a 5th round pick to get Nick freaking Pivetta, man. That's stupid. You know, like, that's so dumb. I'm sorry. It's so stupid.
Well, I think we know Ryan's opinion on how the MLB is going, and I agree. Like, big teams are being held back from getting better unless they don't give a shit, and the Dodgers do not care. But with that being said, the Yankees have already had to give up picks for Max Fried. The reason they didn't, and the reason they didn't get Christian Walker is because of that. Christian Walker would be a Yankee today, right now, if the Arizona Diamondbacks had not hit him with a qualifying offer. That is just a fact. And now we enter with Paul Goldschmidt. And I like Paulie. I like Goldie. But he's not Christian Walker. He is not the thumper that we hoped we were going to get with that opposite field power. Not to say that Paul Goldschmidt isn't going to be a nice player for us. I think he will be. But we don't know if he's hit a wall last year. And that wall was I mean, that wasn't a wall, man. That was a freaking steel fence that he hit.
And 100 WRC plus. He didn't really look great. And then again, man, I mean, again, just kind of looking at the roster construction here, like, yeah, the Yankees are severely limited by that 4th threshold. You can only give up so many picks as well. I mean, how are you supposed to replenish and get prospects when you're giving up so many draft picks? So it just doesn't make sense. The system doesn't make sense. It's really messed up. But again, I know I just threw out a crazy idea with Flaherty and then smash it into a rant about the CBA. But Alex, I want to kind of get your take here. If the Yankees walked away with Jack Flaherty and then converted one of their young starters into Brendan Donovan, how would you feel about this team, and how many wins do you think they'd pull off?
I mean, look, I love Luis Gil. I love Clark Schmidt. I like Luis Gil more just because of the upside in the control. But if the Yankees could get a Jack Flaherty, for example, and trade either Gil or Clark Schmidt for controllable years of Brendan Donovan, I would drive them to freaking St. Louis myself. Because, guys, I love controllable pitching. Don't get me wrong. But Brendan Donovan, or, you know, of course his name comes up, but there are probably some other players you could throw into the mix here. But in this instance, we're going to talk about Brendan Donovan. He makes you a legitimate World Series contender. And when it comes down to it, Luis Gil is not going to be given a chance to start in a postseason like that. It's going to be Rodon, it's going to be Fried, and it's going to be freaking Garrett Cole.
And it's going to be Jack Flaherty, who started the World Series for the Dodgers.
He
was their number 2 starter as they went on to win the World Series.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend Jack Flaherty's Garrett Cole, but the guy did strike out 33% of batters faced last year. And again, if you have him in the mix, and he's a different look than some of the other guys too.
Right.
He's a low slot guy. He throws kind of
nice
like a 3/4 angle. Yep, curveball, slider. Like, that's different. I know that Cole is a slider, curveball, cutter, fastball guy, but his arm slot's a little different than Jack Flaherty's. And the other thing I like to put out here, Alex, is that when you want to talk about postseason time, man, I mean, you put together that rotation. We've got in the ALCS, Cole, Fried, Flaherty, Rodon's game 4, dude, in the World Series too. I mean, you're gonna have Clark Schmidt coming out of the pen, man. And if Clark Schmidt has a big year and Rodon is, you know, let's say a 3.8, 3.9 ERA guy, doesn't get considerably better, but he's still solid, and Rodon's your 5 starter. Are you kidding me, man?
I would prefer to trade Clark than Gil if we have the chance.
I would argue I'd rather trade Gil than Clark. The only reason I'm saying that is because I don't trust the injury history with Gil. I like Gil a lot. And again, this is more so like I like both pitchers. I think Schmidt displayed last year the ability to be a frontline starter. I guess you could argue Gil did too. I mean, it's tough. This isn't an easy question, Alex. It's really a tough one.
I think both of them have injury histories. Clark obviously missed time last year.
Yeah.
Gil had his first truly healthy season, so that in itself is of risk. I think Gil's upside is ace if he gets that fastball more under controlled chaos instead of just chaotic. Like, be randomized in the zone. Don't be randomized outside of the zone type of thing.
Also, if he had to come out of the bullpen in the postseason, oh my God.
Electric.
My God.
Electric.
Yeah,
he will punch guys out left and right. So,
yeah.
Listen, I like Gil because I think his upside is more, and there's always pitching injury risks. There's always that injury risk.
Also, financially,
and more
Schmidt
control
would actually subtract. You wouldn't gain any payroll from adding Brendan Donovan for Clark Schmidt.
Right.
I would say, okay, if the Cardinals said it had to be Gil, not Schmidt, to get Donovan, would you comply with that?
Absolutely.
Or would you? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I would.
That's my only question on that.
I would prefer to trade Clark over Gil, but I would trade either of them because, guys, one of those guys is going to be a true playoff impact piece.
Yeah.
The other guy may not even see the mound.
And that's also
just the
where Jazz Chisholm's so valuable, because Donovan can play whatever position
Exactly.
he feels, and that's where versatility, like Cody Bellinger, outfield and first base, that matters because let's say, I mean, Donovan can play left field. Donovan, like you can move. Let's say Dominguez figures out left field. You can slot him in left. You could do so many different things with this roster.
He was awesome at third base.
You can put him at second, and he's awesome at second. You can play him at first if you absolutely have to. Like, I like the idea of the Yankees having more versatility as a roster. It's why I think you and I are kind of like, okay, if the Yankees could get like a Jose Iglesias or Kike Hernandez for the bench, that would be nice because they're postseason proven, seasoned veterans, play all over the diamond, play them against lefties only, that kind of thing. Where like Cabrera does that too, but Cabrera can do that against like right-handed pitching, and you got a guy who can do it against lefties. We want the Yankees to have a lot more versatility, modality. Like we want them to be able to shuffle guys around based on who's hot and who's cold, because there are a lot of question marks in the position player side of the ball, but there are a lot of guys who can play certain roles very well. If Paul Goldschmidt only hit against left-handed pitching, he wasn't able to hit against right-handed pitching, that's still valuable for the Yankees because Ben Rice can hit right-handed pitching. You know what I mean? If they don't get the value they're looking for out of Cody Bellinger, then they can move guys around. They can get an outfielder. They can shuffle. Like, they can do things. If they don't get the value out of Goldschmidt and they get a lot of value out of Bellinger, sure. If Bellinger's a 125 WRC plus, I would move him to first base and feel comfortable with my first baseman being Cody Bellinger. He's a good defender out there. I can go get an outfielder, and the outfield and first base are probably the two best places to get a big-time bat. I mean, obviously, we think about, like, what if Kyle Tucker's available at the deadline? I doubt that. I think the Cubs will be very good this year. But what if even, like, a Taylor Ward is available? He had a 111 WRC plus last year. I know that's not big-time thumper, but that's a big bat. That's still a bat that helps you, makes you better. What if, Bo Bichette shakes free from the Blue Jays, and he's someone who's interested in coming over here, and he can play second base for you? You never know. Looking at, I don't know, the Giants, like, do they have anybody? I don't think they have anybody. But point is, outfield is usually the one place where you can get a big-time bat, you know what I mean? And the first base as well, because defense isn't as valuable in right field, let's say, or left field as it is, in center field. I mean, there are just so many. The Yankees need to be versatile. That's what I want them to be. I want at the deadline to not be in a situation where I can't get my guys, and that's where Jazz was so valuable. You could literally play him anywhere. He was like, you want me to play a position I never played before? Sure, man. I got it. Like, give me the glove. Give me my third base glove. I got this, bro. So I love that about a guy like that. I mean, even I'll get a little bit crazy here, Alex. A little bit of a hot take here. I think Jazz will get down ballot MVP votes. I'm not saying he's going to win the MVP, finish top 5 or anything, but I think he will get like I think he can finish within the top 10 to 15 in the American League. Like that's how much I buy into what he did with the Yankees. Yeah. That short porch, man. It was like it was for Jazz Chisholm. He's also
if he stays healthy, he's going to hit 25 homers next season. He's going to, I mean,
maybe steal 40 bags. 40 last year.
Oh yeah. He's stealing. If he stays healthy, then I'm saying, he'll hit 25 homers, at least 80 RBIs. He'll steal 40 bags. He'll probably have, let's say, I mean, at that rate, he's probably at like a 120 WRC plus. Yeah. And he's gonna be a Gold Glove caliber second baseman for you if he plays there.
That, oh my God, that's like a 5-war player.
If he does that, not only is he probably, honestly, I wouldn't even say it's crazy to think he might be our leadoff man. If he does
I would want him at the 3 spot, and the only reason I want him at the 3 spot is because I feel like the power he has plays well there. It's weird.
I kind of want Jason at leadoff.
I would love Jason to grow into that role,
man. If he gets hot, I feel like he could be a sick leadoff hitter. Sick. He just has to get more reps, ultimately.
Yeah, and, end of the day, man, there are so many routes the Yankees could take to finish this winter. We talk about, but it's important for them to go through with it. It's important for them to be the Yankees. And I'll say this now, I'll trade a crazy amount of prospects to get as much of Stroman's money off the books as possible. I'll do some things that like sound crazy to get the money off the books, because if you got like 13 million off the books, man, I mean 10 million would be nice, but if you got like 13, dude, oh my God, you know what I mean? We could do a $13 million under the luxury tax. You can go sign Jack Flaherty and trade for a starter. Like, you would be at 289. You would have to kick in $2 million from Leiter Jr. Maybe you could just trade Leiter and get something back. Like,
just cut Trent Grisham.
Right. You could trade Grisham maybe. I mean, what I would do is I would trade Leiter, and I would, because he's making money, and then I would cut it, and then you would have between you and the fourth threshold, you would have about $12 million. And if you sign Jack Flaherty a 2-year, $40 million deal, you only get taxed on the $8 million that you paid him at the end there. So it's 8 times 0.90 plus 8. It's roughly around $15 million. So it's $15 million on top of $20 million. on top of $12 million. That's around $27 million for Jack Flaherty. I think you and I could stomach that. No, like
Are we
27,
also
28
factoring in
million.
trading Stroman's contract?
Yes, yeah, I'm saying
Okay.
with the tax, if you were able to do that,
Okay.
like I can't lie, man. That sounds. I feel like that's what the Yankees would be willing to do. And then you can, move guys around. You can make trades. And you can get an infielder, even if it isn't a Brendan Donovan. I mean,
dude, for what it's worth, maybe that's why they're looking at Scherzer. I think
that's what I think.
Like part
I
of their
genuinely
mentality
think
could be
they
like
might
that.
be. Yeah, I think they might be looking to do it. Yeah, again, Pivetta
Scherzer or
would be my
Stroman,
guy.
like what's the difference?
Pavetta would be my guy if he didn't have the QO attached. Now, if the Yankees don't care about the QO and they're like, I don't care, I'll give up the draft picks. But like, that's a weird. That's definitely a weird place to go. Like, not Christian Walker, but definitely Nick Pivetta. But
Pavetta's stuff is really good. He's just like a weird pitcher.
Yeah, and you know what?
His stuff is better than his numbers.
Yes, and he pitched in Fenway. Moving away from Fenway might help him. And again, when we're talking about just like building a good rotation, I mean,
The Mets could use Pivetta.
I genuinely, I think if he didn't have the QO, he would have been a Met yesterday. Like not yesterday, he would have been a Met like day one. They would have signed him as soon as. He's
I wonder how much money he gets. 15 mil. 20?
That's the problem. How much money is he going to get with that QO attached to him? I think the Yankees might explore that. I know that again, if you acquire a pitcher who can help, Flaherty, I think has slightly better projections, which is why I'm a little more akin to say just spend the extra like $4 or $5 million maybe per year to get the guy. And if you add him to your rotation again, you can do a lot more trade wise, and he's short term money, so you can get that off the books for next year as well. And you can duck what I think the Yankees should try to will try to do next year. I definitely think they'll duck under the 4th threshold next year. And they can do that and still get Kyle Tucker because they have so much money that can be pushed off the books next year.
We have 16 mil coming off the books just from Hicks and Rizzo.
Yeah, so just to kind of wrap up, because I know I'm kind of like rambling a little bit here in that regard, and at some point, hearing about Jack Flaherty.
This is where our ideas come from.
Yeah,
dude.
but I just think the Yankees, like, being creative is gonna benefit them in this market, a market that's gotten more uncertain. If teams are gonna be hyper focusing on Bregman, and you feel like you're not gonna be one of those teams at the table that gonna give him a 5-6 year deal. And to clarify, he has multiple 6-year offers out there. He still has a 6-year offer from the Astros.
No way he's coming to us.
Like, I think it's fair to say the Yankees not jumping in on 6 years. I'm fine with that. I understand why they're not doing that. If this got to their short-term game, I would have felt a little bit different. But it doesn't look like it's going there. Fine. That's cool with me. But while all those teams are focused on Bregman and a lot of teams are wrapping up their winter, let's go get Jack Flaherty. Let's go move off Stroman's money, and let's go get an infielder. And even if that infielder via trade is like, I mean, if it's Brendan Donovan, that'd be sick. If it's a 3-WAR player, that'd be cool too. Like, just someone who can, just someone who can be, who's good. Someone who's good. I just need a good player after that. Like, I think that the Yankees, again, it's just about getting creative and trying to take advantage of a weird market.
Yeah, if we could get like a 110 WRC plus guy, maybe that even is asking too much, but I think that would be like what I'd say is a good range, like a 110 decent defense. Like that's a substantial upgrade than DJ LeMahieu, like stupid substantial.
Yeah.
So
it makes you meaningfully better. It's about getting meaningfully better. That's all we've talked about on this podcast. Meaningfully better.
Excuse me. Exactly. And I do think Luis Arias is a name that people will bring up, obviously, in connection to the Yankees. But interesting situation going on here. I'm curious to see what happens over the next couple weeks, but we'll keep tossing out ideas and thinking of different ways for the Yankees to improve. Always happy to get your thoughts down below in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. Drop a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.